they brought in a new CEO, when the other CEO was a friend of mine, and it was a new mindset that come in. I said, I got to leave. And I quit on my own, and I didn't have a job. But I had 6 months of severance, and I said, you know what? I'll take a chance and see what comes next.
Oh, yeah.
And I've always been that way. So I'm not gonna get up every Sunday. I'm not gonna hate to go to bed on Sunday night because I hate to deal with Monday morning. When it gets to that point, I know it's time for me to leave.
Yeah. What advice would you give to entrepreneurs? And also, I'd like to hear just your take on, you mentioned a little bit about the country that you're in, but I've got friends that have actually traveled there. One of my good friends is a part of a band called Who's Bad, and he's traveled there. It's a Michael Jackson cover band, and I can't remember if he traveled there with that band or on solo, but he just loves Dubai. But I was just wondering your take on Dubai and also your advice for entrepreneurs.
Well, I look at Dubai kind of like I looked at New York. Although I lived in the suburbs of I lived in New Jersey. And so you know how people live in New York, you don't really get to see New York the way other people, tourists, will see it. And Dubai is kind of the same thing, because before all of this happened, in a given month, I was only here maybe 4 or 5 days. Yeah, for the past 2.5 to 3 years. I'm never really here because I'm either in Africa, I'm in Europe, I'm in Singapore, Hong Kong, Kuala Lumpur. And sometimes there have literally been times I would fly back in here at 6 in the afternoon, come home, repack, go back to the airport at 3 in the morning to fly someplace else. So I don't really, it's a great city. It's a beautiful city. I've said that it would probably look like any city if you could start from scratch and you had all the money in the world to do what you wanted to do, and you have a mindset here, try something new. I'll give you an example. So a developer back here before all this stuff happened had built homes off the water, off the Arabian Sea, and the basement was submerged in the ocean. So literally you could be sitting in your bedroom and their entire wall is like an aquarium with all the fish. And these are the kind of projects they come with. It's not just building a building, but it's kind of like, how can we max this out? Or you've got the twisted building. You go down in the marina area, and if you ever come, you have to go to the marina area. You got the big yachts there and all these apartments, and it's just, so it's kind of like a rich person's paradise. But again, you can still live here and you don't have to be rich, because it's kind of like New York. You can live on Fifth Avenue, or you can live well, I was going to say Harlem. Harlem is just as expensive as Fifth Avenue is now because of gentrification. But you don't have to think about how you got wealthy areas and then you got workers areas. So it's kind of in between. I live in an area called Bergman. It was one of the big areas at one time. Still a nice area, very strong middle class area. I'm very close to the metro, which I used to ride all the time. And I have everything within walking distance. A lot of people want to live in the suburbs and, it's gated communities. I don't want that. I'm kind of a city person. I want to be able to walk to the cleaners, walk to the restaurant. I want to know the people that own the cleaners, know them by first name, country boy style, that you know everybody.
Yeah.
And so it's that. So if you come here to visit, stay downtown, in the heart of all of it, and do that. But also go into the neighborhoods, come to the Bergman areas, and come to the Fahidi areas, and see how it used to be before everybody got rich. Yeah.
And what advice would you give to entrepreneurs? And tell us a little bit about your business as well, the strategy group and everything, strategy focus group.
So as I said, I've been in human resources coming close to 20 years. So I worked for Martha Stewart as Vice President of Human Resources. And then I went to Xerox as the Director of Talent and HR Solutions Consulting Practice. So my consulting is anywhere from leadership development to even this virus and getting companies back to work, helping them put together policies to go back to work. So anything within the organization, outside of the specialties like finance and marketing, I'm involved in, or I can help you with that. So that's kind of the area. And it's just a takeoff from everything I've been doing. And I've just been able to package it and say, here's what we do.
Right.
And so it's kind of worked from there. But the key for me was to get on the speaker circuit.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, I was able to build up, it's an old term, build up a Rolodex for people in all the countries, because I've been to all the countries speaking. I don't do it anymore. Well, I do it, unless I don't do it now for free. I do it for a fee. So I'll come speak, but you're going to have to pay for me to come speak.
I understand. What advice do you give to people? Well, one, I'd like to hear more advice that you got just for entrepreneurs in general, but I've actually, one of the things that I've had for a number of years is I've got an extensive Rolodex. My folks, and I'm in my late 50s, talk about the fact that that Rolodex should be something that I'm able to monetize in terms of making money off it and the contacts that I have. And I make a little bit of it. I mean, I've definitely used those contacts to get guests for this show, in addition to, of course, finding guests through Sri and others. But I'm not going to lie and say that I'm the best at monetizing that. So you were talking about that extensive Rolodex that you have. So how have you done a good job of actually using the Rolodex and the contacts that you've made in order to develop your business?
I don't look at it as monetizing it. So if I'm in someone's Rolodex, don't think of me as part of your monetization scheme.
Right.
I don't see it that way. The way I see it is this. So I have this show that's called a CEO series, where I interview people. And so it has an extensive audience throughout the world. So I can pick up my phone. So when I say people in my Rolodex, I want to be able to call you. And if you don't pick up, if you see my name, you're going to call me back.
Right.
Are you going to shoot me a WhatsApp message? That means we're connected.
Right. And I've
so I can have
more.
1,000 names, but if I reach out to someone and they don't even, like, to give you an example, my daughter had a friend of hers in Istanbul who was in USA on a visa, and his father got sick. He didn't understand the protocol, so he just flew back to his country. And then when he tried to go back in, because he had left the country and didn't let them know, they canceled his visa. So now he's stuck in not stuck, but he's in Istanbul, and he's trying to find a job. So my daughter was telling me the story. She said, "Can you help him?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Give me a day or so." So I went through my Rolodex to see how many people I knew in senior positions that were in Turkey. And it came up to about 30 people. And I sent them a short note. And I said, "Hey," I said, I need a favor. I need you to take a look at this gentleman's profile, family friend, da-da-da, this and that and the other. Really appreciate it. I sent that out to 30 people. 25 of them responded in some way. And that's what I'm talking about, having a strong Rolodex.
Yep, and I agree with you.
Yeah, so that I can reach out and you will come back to me. So I use this theory called making a deposit.
Mm.
So you may call me and say, "Ron, here's what I need." I said, "Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it." I do what I got to do, and it works for you. And you come and say, "Oh my, thank you." So I said, "No worries." So it's kind of like the scene in The Godfather when the guy tells him, he said, "I'll do you this favor, but there'll come a day, and that day may never come, that I'll come back to you and ask you for a favor." So I work on that same principle. I will do for you. Call me for anything. I'm going to do it. I'm going to take it as far as I can take it. But I will come back to you, possibly, and say, "Here's what I need." That could be next week. That could be 6 months, a year from now.
Right.
So you could have a Rolodex, but if you reach out and nobody responds to you, all you have is just names of people and contacts, because you're not really connected.
And that's what I find a lot of people do. And I mean, I was probably guilty of that when I first started collecting addresses and contacts. Was you collect the address, you make the contact, and then half the time you don't even know why you got the business card in the first place, because that's all you've been doing is just collecting the business cards. But I'm making a point now of trying to make it a note as to who these people are, why I made that contact, and things of that nature, because too often folks will just grab, I go to festivals all the time, and I probably got thousands, if not hundreds, of art collections. But now I write down the artists, what I like about the artists, or things of that nature, so that it's not just a collection of 1,000 artists. The same with some of the musicians that I know. And some of these are known musicians, and that I can reach out to and get them to do me a favor or whatever. But I have to write who they are and why they're important and things of that nature.
Yeah, I always make a note on the back who it is, and I send a note. I type a note and say, it was great meeting you last night. Really enjoyed our conversation. If I could ever be of service, be sure and let me know. I copy that, I press send. I go to the next card, open it up, put the email address, and I copy the same thing in there, and I do that, and I do that, and I do that.
Yeah, that's a great thing that you're doing there. And I had a similar story that you mentioned, and this was years ago, about your daughter and her friend. I had some friends probably about 10 to 15 years ago. They went to Canada. They're now divorced. It was a husband and wife. And I was actually pet sitting for them because I lived across the street from them in downtown Durham at the time. Now I live near the Duke campus. But at the time I was living downtown, I was pet sitting for their cat and dog. They had actually made the mistake of going to Canada across the border, which they could get across the border without their passport, because at that time Canada had some, I guess, looser restrictions and everything.
Yeah.
But coming back the other side, they needed the passport, and they didn't have their passports with them. So they called me up. They knew I was pet sitting for them. I had been pet sitting for about a week. They were like, Mark, I need you to run across the street. I need you to grab the passport. It's in file cabinet 8 or whatever it was at. Get it back to us, fax it to us so that we can actually come back home.
Leave. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I just thought that was really interesting, because I have not done as much. That one of my great regrets, and like I said, I'm hoping to correct it once the coronavirus is done, is that I haven't done as much international travel. I actually went with a friend of mine on a cruise not this past winter. Past winter, but the winter before. So like around actually it was 2 or 3 winters ago. I went on a cruise down to U.S. Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico. It was right after that storm, so shortly after that. So U.S. Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Grand Turks, and 1 or 2 other places. But before that, the only other time I had gone overseas was Turkey, because my dad was in the Air Force and he was stationed in Turkey. I was actually born in '62, so I think my mom said when I was 6 months old or something like that, she grabbed me. I was the only child at the time. I have a younger brother now, but grabbed me, and we went over there and lived over there for 2.5 years. So that was my only foreign experience. But I do know that there are several countries, Dubai being one of them, Kenya being others, Belize, and Brazil in South America, India, several others that I'm definitely hoping to visit as I am growing older and want to do more world travel. My parents have actually done much more world travel than I have, but that's one of my great regrets, is that I haven't done enough world travel.
Yeah. Well, I was traveling before I did this. We'd go to Europe. We'd go to Rome one year, Paris the next. And I did a little of the Caribbean. Never been a cruise person. And but now it's for business. So I go to these cities so much, I tend to know people there. And so now when I go there, I'm like kind of a local.
Right.
If I'm in KL, Kuala Lumpur, I use the public transportation, the metro, subway. I know people in the neighborhood, kind of the Southern style. I still take that with me. I want to know the lady when my shirts need laundering. I want to know her. I could come in. I said, I need this back today. Trust me. And she said, Ron, for you, anything. And so when I go to these cities, it's not like a tourist. I go to Hong Kong. So people from Hong Kong send me a hotel always says, oh my God, we really miss you. I said, you have no idea how much I miss you guys. I can't wait to get back. I know everybody on the little strip. And so it's not so I was there. Last time I was in Hong Kong when they was having all the uprising. I have photos of, because I'm staying in this hotel and right above the room I was working out of, they were throwing bricks and total disruption. And it was something to see that these people were revolting against the government. And no guns were used. Nobody was shot. They were using tear gas and rubber bullets and all these kinds of things. But I admired them for rebelling.
Right.
And I look at, and I don't want to go political on it, but I look at what's going on in this country. Here's a man saying, take bleach. And nobody's, he's just crazy. And I said, what if this was Hong Kong? And they were just talking about a law that they were trying to put into place. An entire city erupted as a result of that. But we've gotten so, like, I get up in the morning and I turn the news on. Sometimes I don't even want, because it's like, okay, what happened now?
Right.
But I want to know so that if